Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday, so it's Thursday Tier Talk. We got a Premier League preview for you. We got our bets for Beat the Bookie, a couple of nice news articles to talk about as well, and anything you want to talk about in the chat. Joining me as always, my co-host on the show, the Dazzler himself, looking fresh, ready to head off to Rome for a nice weekend with the lovely Rosanna. How are we?
Yeah, not too bad, pal. All good. Yeah, I've had a rough couple of weeks, but I'm starting to get out the other end of it, thank God.
We both look a lot fresher this week.
Yeah, we sure do. We sure do. 3 antibiotics, 2 steroids, and an inhaler later.
That's your
Rough
pursuit of becoming Brock
as.
Lesnar.
Yeah, true.
I was doing the wrestling show last Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Yes.
And there was talk in the comments that you're kind of morphing into a cross between AJ Styles and Pat McAfee.
Right.
There you go. So I thought you'd be happy with that.
I look like AJ and I sound like Pat, is that it? Or how's it roll?
No, I think it was all about looks. I don't think it was about sound or anything like that. It was all about look. But it was interesting. It was an interesting out there. So, but there we go. So, as always, folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button. Check out Pro Wrestling Weekly last night as well. We had a lot of fun on that show last night. A couple of new people in the chat as well. And a couple of people that weren't there because obviously it is Valentine's night. So, we do understand that people can't up. It's all good. It wasn't great planning on my behalf, to be honest. But that's just the way it goes. In the chat, Daz is there. How are you? What's the crack at Niall and Dazzler? All good.
Hey, Daz. Good to see you, pal.
In there. And the Bazatron is in. Baz himself. Evening, lads. What's the crack? All good. Baz. Tom the Baz
earlier. Good to have you, Baz.
And Daz, I liked your Sting video today, Niall. Yeah, I did a little video today, Darren. I don't know if you caught it on Sting. Won the tag straps last night in AEW with Darby Allin.
I've seen that.
And then got taken out by our favorite tag team, the Bucks. And I was compelled today to do a little video. I got into work a little bit earlier, so I had about a half an hour to spare. I said, you know something? I'm going to jump on and share my thoughts on Sting's career because I followed Sting's career now since about 1985, 86. And I remember the night he attacked the Horsemen, or he attacked J.J. Dillon. It was the Ric Flair Appreciation Night in Raleigh, North Carolina. You weren't even born for this, I'd imagine.
Well, I was born 84, so I might have been.
Well, you'd be still in the diapers or whatever at that stage it was.
Running around with shitty nappies.
But I felt compelled to talk about Sting's career a little bit for about 8 or 10 minutes, I think it was. And I was talking about how brilliant he was in Jim Crockett Promotions and the legacy he left in WCW, and obviously never wanting to go to WWE to work under Vince McMahon. Hindsight is a great thing, really, when you think about it nowadays.
What did Stinger know?
Yeah, absolutely. But then eventually, had some time in TNA, but obviously WWE had bought WCW, which was obviously a curveball for him. Eventually went into TNA, did some work in there, made a few stars in there and helped give them a bit of rub and stuff like that. But never again really hit that heights of Sting as such. Went into WWE. That was kind of like take the pension bag, really. Didn't really want to be there. Didn't really commit to it.
It floundered.
And was booked. The booking was crap as well. Then went into AEW and joined AEW. And he's been in there trying to help out, give the rub to people in there, but also doing crazy things himself at the age that he is and stuff like that and all. And I kind of questioned whether, like, when you think about Sting's career, Ian will talk about it a lot. He's a big WCW fan, of course. And I was thinking it all comes down to 3-week reign with the AEW tag belts. Are probably going to drop them to the Bucks. He's probably going to lose his last match at AEW Revolution. And I was thinking, it's a kind of a sad way for an icon like Sting in the business to bow out. And I was thinking, worst case, if you're in AEW, I was saying today, why not Jericho? A guy who's had that body of work, who's won it and done it all, who's continually evolved with the business over 2-3 decades, whatever it is now at this stage, maybe more. And I was thinking, why not do a marquee match with Sting and Jericho or something like that? How does this arrive at a point where it's the Bucks?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
There you go.
There's probably 4 to 5 guys I can think of who should be involved in this match, and none of them are.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what credibility the books are going to get from, winning the straps from Darby Allin and Sting, if that's how it's going to go down. Now, listen, unless there's some sort of major swerve, and I mean, Darby Allin, doing the dirty on Sting and burying him in his final match, it's all going to be for nothing, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
unless you're gonna get that kind of heat for a guy like Darby Allin, and to elevate him with that kind of heat, where he was the guy to put the final nail in Sting's coffin, and he was supposed to be his partner, and then listen, I don't know why the books. I have no idea. I think it's a mental situation, to have him in.
Yeah, it's just for me, if I'm jumping on and doing an extra show, there's something that's not sitting right with me. And it just didn't sit right with me today. I just thought, and then they took out the two sons as well. The two sons got involved as well. I don't know if you've seen that.
I did see that, yeah. But when you think of the kind of matches that the books put on, that kind of style match isn't going to lend itself to a Steve Borland. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the stage of his career he's at, you would have been much better off, as you say, with somebody like a Jericho who could match him for speed, and they could rub off each other. And with guys like that, it would have all been about the facials, and it would have all been about the, have you had enough Sting? Have you had enough Sting? This kind of stuff. And are you done now? Because Jericho's brilliant at that. And to think then you've got, you're going to have
super
these two trying
super
kick his chin off, like, and we're like, Jesus.
I was nearly on the video this morning, nearly driven to even suggest Mox. That's how bad it got.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch, but still better than what's on offer.
Way better. Well, like, I don't know how you do it, but I mean, like, Daniel Bryan,
yeah.
Daniel Bryan. So you've got like a Shawn Michaels and a Ric Flair, that kind of way. You got a Daniel Bryan and a Sting, that kind of, and Bryan is there to put Sting out of his misery, and finish the job, and that kind of a way. And I just my problem with. I have so many problems with the books anyway, which you already know. Nobody wants to hear my problems with the books. But like, the whiff of Tony Khan off this is actually, it'd knock you out.
Do you know what was telling last night as well? Flair wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I wonder, will there be some sort of swerve, as you said, ramifications going, when I needed you, you weren't here. And is it going to inject him into the match as well? And I just wonder. I just wonder what way it's going to go. But listen, I don't know how they swerve out of this. We'll keep an eye on it. I said I'd look into it next week as well, but I felt compelled this morning to do a short video on it and just give my thoughts and stuff like that.
It's just really sad when you look at a guy like Sting, as you say, the icon Sting. Like, I wasn't a huge WCW fan, as you know. I was always WWE. I've always been WWE. I always carried that flag. So outside of WWE, like, there wouldn't have been a huge amount of wrestlers that I would have either followed or, say, known who they were. Now, like, Ric Flair was one of the guys I knew. Ric Flair was the real world champion, the WCW belt, stuff like that. Sting, Goldberg, these kind of characters. And like, you're talking about some of the greats there.
Goldberg, who's available.
Who is available. So, I don't know.
It's a weird one. It's just a weird one. Morris is in. He says it was quite romantic. Thank you very much. It was quite romantic. I spoke from the heart, and you know how passionate I am about these things.
Absolutely.
I just want to know, are you doing the gondola in Rome with the wife?
That's Venice, not Rome.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When in Rome, when in Venice.
Yeah.
Morris is in. Sad ending to Sting and that dead company. There you go.
You got it, Morris.
All right, Morris. When do you play your Champions League game? I think they're back next week, aren't they? Well, next week for that. Those, City were back this week. How old are his sons? I'm thinking they're probably in around the
late
somewhere between 25 to 30 or something, are they?
I didn't think they were that old.
Yeah, maybe they're younger
I
and
thought
stuff
they
like
were
that. But
younger.
I'm just
Sorry.
thinking, what's Sting at the moment? About 65, 66,
He's
67?
about 6. I thought he was about 65. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would think,
Logistically,
if it,
probably minimum. They're probably minimum 25, which I didn't
yeah,
think of because the
that's
look
what I
at them,
was
they
thinking.
look a bit younger.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're passed out on the drip. Evening,
Did you
lads, looking as
see?
hot as ever. There you go.
There's our pal Marky. Did you see? Did you see Jeff Hardy getting knocked out with a Sammy Guevara knee?
Man, good lord. He actually caught him with the foot. Did you see? It was with the trailing leg, wasn't it? It was more the shin, wasn't it?
Oh, I
It
think
looked
it was
like it
his
was the
knee.
shin. It's scary. I seen the long range one. To me, it looks like, because I thought it was the way the leg came
He
around.
starts to
He shinned
rotate.
him.
Yeah, he starts to rotate, and apparently the knee was what caught him, but it didn't look good either way.
Do you know when Jeff Hardy videos now crop up on my X or Twitter or whatever it is at this stage and stuff like that? I don't even want to play them, because that's a guy who needs to be that's a guy who's potentially wheelchair bound. He needs to be spoken to and stuff like that. The last 6 to 8 weeks have just been horrific. Botchamania is having a wild time at the moment with some of this stuff. Crazy. Dazzler, if you could save one thing, what would it be? AEW or Scottish football? Asking for a friend.
That is a tough one, Marky. But I would say Scottish football because I think it's salvageable, whereas I don't think AEW is. There's too many bums.
I definitely didn't see the Berlin prices today, but I am going to be hopefully getting AC/DC tickets tomorrow morning with a bit of luck. I'll be in that rat race for 2 of those, along with about 400,000 or 500,000 other people.
I've been a little bit put out because we got obviously Brody's communion is the 2nd of May. His party is the 4th. That's the night of the backlash in France.
Yeah.
So that counts me out of that.
Well, you dodged the bullet there. France is an awful country, just saying.
Out of that's what you're looking forward to. Yeah, I absolutely am. Then I look today at Berlin. Yeah. Saturday is it the 29th?
Yeah, it's late on, isn't it? Is it the day after? Is it the day after All In?
Yeah, but I think it's the Saturday, whatever day did it. I'm at
maybe All In is the Sunday, is it?
I'm at Coldplay that night in Kroger.
Again, a much better choice.
Oh, bit good.
Are you?
Yeah, a little
bit good. Well, I'll tell you, if you want to go, sort the tickets for Berlin, and I'll go to Coldplay. That's not a problem.
I don't know how she'd feel about that, no. You know.
Well, you could go to Berlin. I'll go to Coldplay with Rosanna.
Would you be dazzling enough?
Oh, I tell you, man. Yeah, right. I suppose we better get into this football.
Yeah, let's get it moving here.
Premier League preview. Brentford versus Liverpool, the lunchtime kickoff. The 12:30 kickoff.
12:30.
Surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I think it's obviously Brentford. We've seen Brentford not turn a corner, but at least get the car, slightly on its side. Because they've come in with some good performances. They haven't maybe got the results that they would be after just yet to kind of push them clear of that relegation fight. But I think Tony coming back has been huge for them. Maupay been getting on the score sheet and stuff like that. And they've been doing well. Liverpool will have a couple of bodies back, I believe. Salah and Bradley, is that right?
Not too sure on Salah. Bradley is definitely back. He's back in training anyway.
Yeah, saw that all right. I thought Salah was back in training since yesterday, no?
No, I think he's back doing. I'm not too sure. As far as I know, reading into it yesterday and looking at the videos, he's doing kind of specific training, but not full team training. So I don't know what he's going, unless he surprises us and brings him back. But based on our look at the moment at rushing people back, I'd be very, very careful in that area at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not looking good at the minute, so we'll see what happens.
Well, listen, you've still got the mighty Diogo Jota and Captain Chaos Darwin Núñez.
My guess is he'll keep Salah for the cup final. That would be my thinking.
Well, especially now he doesn't have Trent.
Next week. It's next week.
So. Yeah, Trent's out. And you've got you've another game before then, though. Another Premier League
game. Luton midweek.
Yeah. There's 12 games in the week actually rather than 10. Well, there is for fantasy purposes, but listen, I think this will be a tough game for Liverpool. I don't think it's nice going to that stadium anytime, but I think 12:30 on a Saturday morning won't make life any easier for them. I think it'll be scruffy, and I think if they can get over the line 2-1, I think you'd take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's at the moment I'm just thinking with the way everything's going and constructed and all this other stuff that's going on. I think it's points over performance at the moment now, big time. Just get the
Well, you're
points
getting into that kind of period of the season where it's all about just getting over the line and keeping things ticking, you know.
Yeah, big up, Joanne. How are you?
Hey,
Good
Joanne.
to see you there. Yeah, you're thinking a kind of a scruffy 2-1 from Liverpool.
Yeah, I think scruffy 2-1 from Liverpool. Yeah, just get over the line.
Happy days. Burnley versus Arsenal. Your boy Company kind of able to cause an upset at all down on Turf Moor?
A couple of weeks ago, I might have said yeah, but obviously the last couple of Arsenal performances have been unbelievable. You know, they did a super win against you guys at the Emirates, and then I thought they'd have a much tighter game last week in the in that West Ham stadium, the City of London stadium, whatever it's called these days, and they absolutely trashed West Ham, didn't they? They went to town on West Ham. Now, I didn't see the game, but I did see the highlights, and Arsenal were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Mikel Arteta has them purring at the minute. So, again, I don't think we're going to see a huge change from that. I'm going to go Arsenal here, 3-1.
Arsenal 3-1. Yeah, I would have thought so. We're on a wave at the moment, aren't we?
Do I want to put last year's bet on Burnley Saturday? Not really, Morris, no. What am we? You're giving me Burnley here, are you? Right, okay.
It's not even last year's, it's last season's. Because we're in the new year. On sale now, Acers. There you go. They're on sale now. They're going to be expensive week for tickets, isn't it? Fulham versus Aston Villa. This one I'm kind of divided on. But I'm leaning towards the Cottagers.
Yeah, I obviously Villa have had a couple of poor performances lately. You know, and last week was a huge win for us there at Villa Park and stuff like that. Wasn't necessarily what I thought we were going to get out of it. I didn't think the performance was amazing, but I think we did enough to get over the line. As you say, it's that time of the year where just getting over the line is the most important thing. I'd expect much better from Aston Villa, but they do look a bit lopsided for me at the minute. They don't look like they're pouring the way he had them. Obviously, the boy Kamara's missing now. He's an ACL injury. He's out for probably the rest of the season. And he's a big miss because he's a really tidy footballer, that kid. We spoke about him a couple of times. Good news on the injury front. I think Tyrone Mings is on the way back. He started back training for Villa. They'll be looking to get him back. And I think with Conte out as well, it leaves them a little bit light in the defence as well.
Three or four big players, aren't they? Conte.
Yeah. Conte, Mings, Kamara. You know, all of a sudden, like it's 3 or 4 of your nucleus, your back four, and your sitting midfielder. You know. And you know how difficult it is then. Fulham are going to cause them lots of difficulty because they cause everybody lots of difficulty. They've been good at the back, Fulham. They've been tight, they've been tidy. The boy, Calvin Bassey, has been phenomenal. If you've watched any of him, he's been absolutely phenomenal for Fulham. Brent Leno's been excellent.
The Corba Reid finding his form again.
Yeah, Leno at the back been very good, and the boy Anthony Robinson, the left back's been super. And then when you sprinkle in the guys in front, like the Cordova Reids, like the Muniz, who's got a couple of goals lately, Willian, and again, I think Andreas Pereira is a little bit of an unsung hero in there. I think he's been one of Fulham's talisman. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Pereira get a little step up, maybe just somewhere a little bit higher than Fulham, and I mean that with the utmost respect. I think he could possibly ploy his trade a little bit higher than Fulham.
Yeah.
Been doing very, very well for them. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw here.
2-2 draw. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking 3-2 Fulham. I think there'll be a few goals in it. Morris is in row 5 for the pay-per-view, €1,695. Really expensive for Bash in Berlin. What I would say about that, though, is it's cheaper than front row in the press conference last week. That's the only thing I'd say. Joanna's in. She reckons 5-0 to the Gunners. There you go, Joanne. That positivity. Everyone's changing their tune now. The Gunners are on a wave. Let's do this. Darren,
absolutely.
We have to talk about this if this gets announced. WrestleMania 41 potentially in Las Vegas. There's rumblings about it that it may not be going to Minnesota.
Why?
Why?
Mm.
Well, the key guy from Minnesota no longer exists in the world of pro wrestling. Sure, he doesn't.
Ah, yeah, but they've that's all stitched up, right?
No, apparently not. Apparently it hasn't been agreed yet. Apparently, I was reading an article today that apparently just thought they might switch it to Vegas. And if they do, we'll have to get our Allen costumes on because we're going to be doing the hangover. We'll grow out the beards, put on the shades. Just need to get the little babies in the pouches and the whole lot.
And the man satchel.
Oh, I tell you, man, I have that already there somewhere. That's all
brilliant.
Good.
Brilliant.
So there you go. City will destroy Chelsea. Don't worry, we'll get around to that.
Yeah, we're not far away from that.
Daz reckons 3-0 to Arsenal. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think it could be something pretty similar. Daz, all right. I agree with you, pal. I think 3-1.
Joanne's 2-1 to Fulham.
Yeah.
And Daz is going 2-1 to Aston Villa. Reed and Watkins. Interesting. Newcastle, Bournemouth.
Newcastle and Bournemouth. Yeah, I suppose this is one of the tougher ones to call, isn't it? Newcastle obviously got over the line last week, but only barely against Forest. Am I remembering that rightly?
Yeah. Late goal.
Late goal. It was a bit of a funny game. To be honest with you.
Not if you're a Forest fan.
No, I think Newcastle have been, they're some weeks you get the performance and they don't get the result. Other weeks they don't get the performance and they do get the result. They're a funny team at the minute, Newcastle.
They're a funny team.
Yeah, they are.
That'll be a big factor.
Huge. And I think the thing that's kind of would tilt me towards Newcastle here is the goals seem to have dried up a little bit for Dominic Solanke. And I think, what's around him, the Sinistera and the Kluivert and guys like that just need to step up a little bit to take the burden off the lad because he's been very, very good in his defence. And I think if they could do that, they'd be still in with a spin. But I think this might be Newcastle. I'm going to go Newcastle 3-1.
Yeah, I was thinking in around that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joanne's going for a Bournemouth win. Interesting.
You get big bucks on Bournemouth both to score.
Marky reckons row 5 and Nolan Park Morris. There you go. Ajax losing 2-0. I seen that earlier racers. They were 1-0 down. Interesting. Yeah. Forest versus West Ham.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a great game if I'm honest. This will probably be one of the worst games of the weekend, I'd imagine. Forest's struggling, but West Ham probably, struggling even more at the minute. Obviously the 6-0 last weekend was just abysmal from West Ham at home. The scenes, watching the fans leave and stuff like that, it's never good to see. Obviously there's a wave now with the David Moyes thing, and they're obviously trying to get David Moyes a little bit closer to the door. I think that's a little bit harsh, but I can understand where the mutterings come from when you're losing games at home like that,
I think the problem for them as well is you look at the performance last week and the performance the week before against you guys as well.
Yeah.
but you're looking as well when you turn to the bench, like he has most of the key guys playing. So when you turn to the bench, Paqueta is the main one that's missing.
Yeah, he's got a couple of injuries. He has got a couple of injuries. But listen, he needs to be getting a better tune out what he has available at the minute. He does. They've got the boys Soucek and Alvarez and they've got Ward-Prowse and then they've got Kudos and there's Bowen. There's a lot. They are missing, Paqueta, who's a fabulous footballer, and they are obviously missing Mikel Antonio and stuff like that. And there's a few little bits, but they've more than enough to get results. I think this going to Forest could be a tough day at the office. I think this could be a really tough day at the office for them. I don't think anybody likes going to that City ground. It's a tough place to go. And I think Forest now obviously having the boy a 1 year back and being able to have like Hudson-Odoi and Alanga either side of him and Gibbs White in behind. I think if Forest could just start scoring a couple more goals, we could see Forest push themselves away from this a little bit. Because I don't think they're as bad as the back maybe, as some of the other teams. But I think they need to score more goals. But I think with a 1-E back, it gives them a chance. I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
A win for Forest here would put David Moyes in a lot of trouble, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I think it's a... I might have a bet this weekend. Absolutely, Joanne.
Yeah, 100%.
As well. Brock Lesnar is being pulled from UFC 300 plans according to Dana White. It's mad to think that the lad who slapped his missus in a nightclub is pulling the guy. And it's what a crazy world we live in. 2024, hey? Nottingham Forest nil, West Ham 2 on bone with a brace according to Daz.
That'd be huge, Daz. That'd be huge. I just don't see it at the minute, pal. But that would be huge.
Man City versus Chelsea. Or sorry, I skipped one, didn't I? Tottenham versus Wolves.
Yeah, obviously really bad news this week for Wolves on the injury front with the boy Matthias Cunha out for the rest of the season. He was bringing so much to that side, work rate, endeavour, and he was bringing goals and assists.
Well, he's at City now, isn't he?
Well,
is he not at City?
No,
I think he is.
He's definitely not.
Maybe I'm wrong. Who was the boy who moved from Wolves to City?
Matthias Nunes.
Sorry, got them confused. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Don't do it again. Is the boy Cunha.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Go ahead, Jay. Go on, yeah.
Just got the hat-trick a couple of weeks ago. Been very, very good for them. Brazilian lad, lots of pace, breaking, and giving a hand to the guys around them. The Sarabias and the Netos and stuff like that.
Huge part of Neto's up form. Huge part of Neto's up form, yeah.
So they're going to struggle without this kid because they don't generally have, I know Chan will possibly come back depending on injuries, but they don't necessarily have another 9 like that. The boy Sasa Klojic, he went on loan back to Germany. I think he went to Stuttgart maybe. And then the other boy they have, Andre Silva, is actually on loan now at Rangers. He scored last weekend for Rangers. So they didn't really foresee this injury, and I don't really know if they have the cover to manage it. Now Chan will obviously come in and Neto and stuff like that, but I think it makes scoring goals a lot more difficult for Wolves. And with the rate that they ship them at, they need to score goals because they ship an awful lot of goals at the back there.
And at the Tottenham Stadium.
Tottenham Stadium, yeah, 100%. Listen, I think Wolves are getting the score sheet, but I think Tottenham will get over the line. I'm going to go Tottenham 3-1.
Good stuff, interesting. Joanne, who won the Royal Rumble? Bailey won the women's, and the men's was Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
There you go. Man City versus Chelsea could potentially be our favourite game of the weekend. Just saying.
Yeah. I think this is Chelsea getting absolutely slapped up. I think this is going to be, City flexing their muscles a little bit. You'll probably have Doku and Silva, Foden, Haaland, De Bruyne, Rodri. Like, that's ominous if I'm City. I know there's no Jack Grealish, and he'll probably sit the boy Alvarez down for the first little while, but I think with how poor Chelsea have been at the back recently, I think they could chip a couple here. And I don't necessarily think they've got a lot going forward that'll scare or frighten City. Obviously you got the boy Cole Palmer and you've got Nkunku and maybe Sterling and stuff like that, but I think it's another one of those battles that in the midfield is going to be really important. If you look at the 2 games and the 2 results that Chelsea have had recently, they're a great result. And that was the night that Enzo and Caicedo kind of stood up. That was against Villa away from home. Yep. But that also shows us how poor Villa were, because again, we went and beat Villa the next game, and it's the first team we've beaten out inside the top 10 away from home under Ten Hag. So that would lead me to think it was a poor Villa performance as much as it was a good Chelsea performance. And I think if we look at the preceding game where they obviously, at Anfield with you boys, and you guys absolutely annihilated them in that midfield area, I could see something like that happening. I think this could be 4-1 City.
4-1 City, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take in the comments here. Still no Ireland manager, yeah. And I was listening to, was it Jonathan Walters last night I was listening to talking about it, and he made the interesting point that they've spoken to Carsley. He obviously doesn't want it by the looks of things. They've spoken to Chris Hughton. He doesn't seem to want it and stuff like that. So they're digging deep at the moment to try and find this manager by the looks of things. It's going to be interesting. to see eventually who goes in there. Dazzler, thoughts on Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox? We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on, so we'll save that one, Acers. You're jumping the gun on my slides, Acers. When will they get a manager, Morris? God knows. God knows. Joanna's gone for a 4-0 Man City against Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it could be something like that, Joanna. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Dazzler's gone for a 2-1 Chelsea. Palmer with a brace, and Haaland for City. I'd be very happy if that happens.
I'd be really shocked. I got to be honest with you.
Do your homework, Acers, before putting out something like that. Jason Wilcox hasn't been relevant since lifting the Premier League title at Anfield in '95. Do your homework, son. Do your homework. They spoke to Chris Coleman on Monday. Yeah, interesting.
If we got the only good news about that is we got Chris Coleman, we get Charlotte Jackson. That's a win all round. You're asking me.
There you go. Yeah, Mark wouldn't be a big fan. Wouldn't be a big fan of Chris Coleman.
No, absolutely not. But if you look at the list, Chris Hughton, do you want him? No. Neil Lennon, do you want him? No. Chris Coleman, do you want him? No. It's a list of
no's.
It's a hodgepodge and a who's who of who you don't want running your national team. Other than for me, Carsley's the big name in that for me. If you could get Carsley done, it'd be a huge, huge thing. But Carsley apparently thinks he's in with a spin of getting the England gig when Southgate steps down.
Now, do you know what Jonathan Walters, actually, the point he made last night, which was really interesting, and he said that Carsley had only signed a new contract and there was either another year or two to go on it. And he said the one thing about Carsley is he never walks away and breaks a contract. He's always committed to a contract, apparently, and that his loyalty overshadows everything else. That's what Jonathan Walters was talking about last night. So it was interesting to hear that from him as well. Goes to show apparently that he's this is why he's so so respected in the game, because he's always seen out his contracts apparently and stuff like that. And also interesting. Maybe that's the case. Maybe the timing of it's just wrong. We did make the point as well that the remuneration package that was on offered is kind of suited a Stephen Kenny level, and that it was going to be very difficult to bring in any sort of real quality at that level of remuneration, if that's what it is. So
absolutely, 100%.
Sheffield United versus Brighton.
Yeah, so Brighton have been a funny old side of late as well, haven't they? They've kind of toiled a little bit. Now I know we spoke about Brighton and we spoke about the fact that, De Zerbi's had a tough season with a lot of injuries at Brighton. A lot of injuries at Brighton. And then obviously selling his two best players, McAllister and Caicedo, it was always going to be difficult to go again without them. But when you have all the injuries he's had all over the pitch, and then when you've had in the extra European games and stuff like that, it's been a long L season for Brighton. They do have a nice little run of games coming up. And this is kind of the first game in it. I think this week they've got Sheffield United, and then I think they play Luton, and then I think they play Fulham. 3 sort of games that if you can get the boy Matoma back on the pitch, if you can get the boy Evan Ferguson scoring goals, you could go on a little run and pick up 3, 6, 9 points and just start to inch yourself a little bit closer to where you want it to be come the end of that season, Yeah. So I wouldn't. The
Matoma one's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there was an article out the other day saying apparently he's going to be available for sale in the summer.
It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. He's a very, very good footballer. He's a very, very good footballer. I think there's a lot of teams in that league that if Matoma was on offer, they'd have to look at them. They'd have to look at him. Yeah. There's so many teams that could do with a guy that could bring that level to the left-hand side of their team, or even playing behind and create the way he does and, moves with the ball at his feet and stuff like that. I think he's a great footballer. And I think he's a really honest, hard-working kind of a kid as well. Yeah. So he's someone a lot of teams will try and get their hands on if it's possible this summer. I'm going to go Brighton here, but I'm not going to go a clean sheet because they haven't had too many of them recently. And Sheffield United obviously have scored a couple of goals since January with getting new strikers and stuff like that in. So
coming off the back of a great result as well.
Sure are. Really are. Like,
shocked us last weekend, yeah.
Yeah. They certainly shocked me away to Luton. I think Luton are going to have off days like that. Because they've been mixing at a really high level, Luton, for a couple of weeks. I just think,
hopefully, says you. Hopefully.
Listen, I think they're going to get themselves up for United. So I think that'll be different.
Yeah.
But I definitely just think it looked like they ran out of energy and ideas and enthusiasm for the week, But I'm going to go Brighton here. I'm going to go Brighton. I'm going to go Brighton 4-2.
I think if you go with Sheffield United on this one, Morris, I think you'll get great odds. So if you're looking for your bet, we'll go through the bets later and beat the bookie as well. But Luton versus Man United.
If you want to take Sheffield United, Morris, I'll take Brighton and draw no bet.
There you go. Interesting. Luton versus Man United.
Yeah. We don't generally travel very, very well to London. I don't see, and I don't see.
I know how you feel.
I don't see any of this suiting us. If I'm honest, it's not a great pitch. The fans are on top of you. It's going to be a big day for Luton having Man United come to town.
Oh,
Deal.
He's taking it. There you go.
Happy days.
There you
go. But I think the only thing that would spur me a little bit is we've been able to start picking up a few results. We haven't, I wouldn't say we put like a full 90-minute performance together yet. We had a good win, obviously, at Villa. We had a good win at West Ham and stuff like that. And then, this is a big game for me, that if you could go here and get the result at Luton and kind of keep the ball rolling, you know what I mean? Again, it doesn't need to be pretty. It can be scruffy. It can be a 3-2 to United, which is what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for. I'm going 3-2 United. Because I think there'd be, I think there'd be goals. Wow. Yeah. They'll cause us a lot of trouble from set pieces and stuff like that. A lot of trouble from set pieces, in the way Wolves did. But I do think they'll give you a little bit at the back, and when you've got guys like Hoyland and the form he's in, and Rashford can always pluck a goal out, and Garnacho and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go United 3-2.
I have a funny feeling you're going to smash these.
I don't think so.
I really do. Joanne's going for a 2-1 Luton win. Interesting. I have a funny feeling. I think there's and we'll get talking about it, but there's a lot of positivity at the moment coming out of that United camp at the moment. Quite uplifting as well for what the squad is saying is going on as well.
Quite uplifting if you're a United fan. I'm not sure if
2-3 Daz is going for. Morris with 2 and Rashford with 3. Interesting.
I'll take that.
Absolutely. And then we rounded out then Everton versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I was looking at this earlier, and obviously, Roy Hodgson has had a rough day, so thoughts go out to Roy. He had to abandon the news conference today because he fell ill in training. And he was taken to hospital apparently, so Roy's not doing great at the minute. So thoughts out to Roy.
Yeah, latest reports is he's stable and all, so that's good news. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely. And then obviously former Frankfurt boss Glasner is apparently waiting in the wings.
Yeah, apparently that was what the announcement was going to be today, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think they were gonna maybe put something in there and maybe have your man at the game at the weekend, and do some sort of a soft handover. But I'm not sure how that'll go now. But Roy, obviously, Roy struggling health wise and stuff like that. I make the assumption Paddy McCarthy will be in charge for the weekend. If I squint, I can see Paddy's house out the window. He's a local from around here. He's a good pal of ours. So Paddy will hopefully come in and do a decent job there this weekend. But I think Palace are in a tough position at the minute. Like Hodgson spoke about it a few weeks ago. Yeah. When you've got your 2 best players, Eze and Elise, and they're 50 to 60 million worth of player each, and you can't get them on the pitch, that's difficult for a club like Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and you're also trying to replace Wilfred Zaha as well. And you're trying to replace what he used to bring. He was a talisman there, used to get goals, all that kind of thing.
So from your front 3 last season of Zaha, Eze and Elise, at the minute you've got nothing. One of them's left the building, and the other two are sitting on the treatment table holding hands.
Yeah, and SA was only off the treatment table as well. He hasn't had him most of the season either, so he's only after coming back. And he's back, and he's gone again.
Came back, scored a couple of goals, got the ball rolling. Him and Elise played together. They got a 3-2 win, I think it was. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're back sitting on the couch. Well, that's tough for Hodgson. That's very difficult, Yeah.
And that couple, the one thing I would say about Roy Hodgson is I love him as a footballer, man, as well. And I love his old school style and his honesty in interviews and stuff like that as well. He doesn't try and sugarcoat anything. But I do think there comes a time when you need to hang up your boots and enjoy your few bob.
Absolutely.
And I think that time has come. He doesn't need to be there at his age, at this stage, feeling the pressure.
Let's be honest, he wouldn't be there only for the position they were in earlier in the season. Last season, and he came in to steady the ship for them, and he did that, and now it looks like he's done that to the detriment of himself, because Palace were struggling, and he came in to kind of mop up the Vieira situation, but it's not done that for him, unfortunately, and that's tough. When you've given your all to a club, and
in fairness, last season it was miraculous. You know what I mean? And this season it's fallen off the edge of a cliff. They couldn't have foreseen what came out with the important players that they had. They lost Wilfred Zaha and they never really replaced his goals, and they haven't really progressed as a team. A lot of this lies at Parish's feet, to be honest. Let's be honest here about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without pointing the finger too much, but that's the reality of it, be honest. And as you said, a good tradesman can only work with the tools that he's given and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But I do think for Roy, I think it's time he needs to go off and enjoy himself. He's done enough
100%
at this stage. Be an ambassador or something like that for the FA or something like that. He's a good soul and he's a decent human being, and he always means well in what he does and stuff like that.
Sure does. Yeah.
We wish him well in his recovery, and we hope he does okay. So we were back. What are you thinking on this one, Everton Palace? You think that Everton win?
I think Everton might nick this 1-0.
It's going to be a huge 3 points for them as well, if what we're hearing is talk out there at the moment.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right. Let's talk about. I suppose we'll talk about United first of all. Okay.
Fine.
In there. Obviously, Ratcliffe is the approval has been given by the Premier League and the FA. 25% is all signed, done and dusted, all good. So now you'll see a lot more momentum even than what you were previously seeing. Barada in the door, Wilcox potentially coming in, Dan Ashworth they've made contact with. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Give us your thoughts on this at the moment, what you're seeing at the moment. I spoke to you on WhatsApp earlier.
Yeah,
I think you were quite encouraged by my comment as well.
Yeah, well, look, I'm encouraged by the fact they're trying to address the right parts of the club first.
Yeah,
because we've known for quite some time that there's been issues in the back, and that there wasn't what we describe as footballing men making footballing decisions at the club.
Yeah,
it was guys like John Murtagh, Richard Arnold,
accountants.
What can't I think of the other lad's name?
Bankers and accountants.
What's the other lad's called? Remember? Woodward. That's him. Woodward. Yeah. That's the one. Woodward evaded me for a minute.
And not the rugby coach.
No, and so yeah, we had the wrong guys making the wrong decisions at the club, and it was really poor. And I think now, Radcliffe has come in. He's gone, okay, well, first of all and foremost, we're a football club. So for a football club, we need football men. And he's looked around and he's gone, okay, I need a CEO. Who's the best in class? And somebody pointed an arrow towards Omar Barada, and he went, let's get him.
Yeah.
And then he's gone, okay, we need a director of football. What's the best around? And somebody's gone, Dan Ashworth, and he's gone, okay, let's get him. And now it looks like he's gone and he's looking at maybe Jason Wilcox, who we know has run the Manchester City Academy and stuff like that, and has done a stellar job rebuilding the Southampton Academy as well. There's a lot of good young players coming out of Southampton, and actually Wilcox took a lot of the young lads from City to Southampton. You know, the Samuel Adozis and the Sekou Maras and guys like that. So he knows what he's doing. He's very in touch with kind of the underage level and stuff like that, and with how you need to grow the club behind the scenes. So, like, for me, if you look at the likes of an Arnold and a Woodward and a Murta leaving the building, and somebody's giving you Barada, Ashworth, and Wilcox, you've got to be so happy.
Yeah.
You really have.
I'm a rival, and I've been speaking to people. I think I spoke to you about it as well. I'm concerned by the moves that United are making. I think they're starting to do what should have been done a decade ago. Let's be honest. I had a look at Ashworth's CV there today.
Yeah.
I like the progression of his career as well, and how it's unfolded from every level that he's been involved in to where he is now. And you're looking at 2024 potentially Man United going on that list as well.
Yeah.
Even heightens his progression even more and stuff like that. So a lot for United fans to be enthusiastic about at the moment in terms of that work that's being done off the pitch. Let's see how that filters down then into how they feel about the squad come the summer and stuff like that.
And a lot of, if we look at the squad, like, there's a lot of stuff to like about the squad, especially from like a youth point of view. You know, you've obviously got the boy Hoyland, who's very young, and we paid a big transfer fee for him, but at the minute it's looking like it's a decent piece of business in comparison to some of the other business you've got. You've got Rashford, who's come through the academy, who toils at times, but we know the ability is there. You've got Garnacho coming through. You know, you've got Kobe Mainoo coming through. You've got the boy Willie Kambwala at centre back coming through. You've got the boy Ilte, who we know is decent. The keeper, he's another young lad. There's lads coming. Shola Shoratire, he got a couple of goals last night against Chelsea again. And the Fletcher's two young lads. There's a lot building. There's a lot of momentum building in that squad. And a lot of young, hungry footballers. Palestri got a goal and an assist last weekend for Granada in the Camp Nou against Barcelona. So there's a lot of young, hungry footballers starting to hit their straps in Manchester, in the red side of Manchester, which we haven't had for a while. And if you can sprinkle in the right kind of magic dust around them, you know, and get some experienced heads and some good footballers and with good habits and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the season pans out between now and May. And it'll be interesting to see if you can kind of achieve a level, you know, if you can get yourself maybe into that top 4 race and stuff like that and all, if teams flounder. Or it'll be interesting to see how they feel about Ten Hag at the time when it's time to make decisions and stuff like that. I don't think these guys are going to be short on making decisions, because you can see what's happening already at the board level. And I think part of these moves that they're making and the conversations that are happening is kind of putting that bit of pressure in there to raise that performance level that you're seeing now. So it should be interesting to see. It's nearly like, if you look over the last, say, 4 or 5 weeks, you've nearly gotten like nearly a new manager bounce, but it's kind of like a new owner bounce. That's how it kind of feels. And a lot of these guys playing for United at the moment, they're probably feeling at the moment like they're kind of on trial. So they're playing even a level above what you've seen and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how
they know now that with the way recruitment's going to go, and speaking or listening to some of the thoughts before, you know, if you're at Old Trafford 2 seasons and it hasn't worked, it's goodbye.
Yeah,
we're not.
You're either up to the standard or you're gone. And being Dutch doesn't protect you. That's not going to happen.
Or English. Yeah. You know, because you know, if you're from Manchester, because that's happened as well a little bit with Rashford. That protection has gone in because he's English and he's young and he, you know, does nice things off the pitch and stuff like that, and where y'all appreciate what he's done. But like, at the end of the day, Marcus Rashford's job is to be a Premier League footballer.
First and foremost, he's a footballer, and
absolutely. It's to win games, and it's to contribute to winning games for Manchester United and England when he pulls on that jersey. So really important for me, you know.
Will Ten Hag survive with the Serbi taking Manchester United manager's job in the summer? I for me, and I can say this right now, and I've had huge criticism about Ten Hag. I don't think the Serbi is a step up from Ten Hag. I really don't. I don't believe it. That's just my own personal view. I think if Ten Hag exits the building, I don't think De Zerbi is the answer. It's just my own view on it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the direction I'd go.
Yeah, if United don't get top 4, it's curtains for Eric Ten Hag.
I don't know. I think a lot of the guys around, will view it as, okay, this guy's been he's been left in the lurch a little bit with what he's had to deal with behind the scenes. So it's hard for us to judge him. So why don't we give him a season, and why don't we back him in the way we know we can back him, with the type of recruitment and with the type of, and arm him with the right type of tools. If it doesn't work, then we can pull the trigger. But
as we said about a month,
to,
yeah, absolutely. As we said about a month ago, it's only in the last 4 weeks he's actually been able to get his team on the pitch. You know what I mean? And listen, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I've no reason to baff for that, but you have to talk the truth and stuff like that. And I think, as you said, you even said it 2 or 3 weeks ago, he's finally starting to see his actual starting 11. And because he's been able to repeat that for 3 or 4 weeks, and now Martinez has gone out again.
Yeah.
But over that time, these players are starting to get a feel for each other. There's a bit of synergy there. There's a bit of stability. And as I said, they look like they're enjoying their football and probably enjoying their training again, because it's been, 3/4 of the season has been kind of horrific for them. It's been really negative and poor and dire, stuff like that. And I'd imagine pulling up to Carrington has just been horrible every day. But we'll see how it progresses, stuff like that. Maybe Ratcliffe is a different idea altogether, and regardless of what Ten Hag does, maybe he already knows who he wants to bring in.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens, I want to talk about this one. I don't know if you've seen this UEFA report that came out, that apparently Man United, the 2023. Now, I presume that would have been 22 into 23 when I was reading it, because obviously Chelsea have blown that out of the water, I would imagine, 23. The most expensive squad in history, which kind of interesting. It kind of shocked me and stuff like that, but it has been
is this from a wage point of view?
I'd imagine it's probably from a transfer fee. I would imagine some big transfers going in there and stuff like that and all, but they did make the point that obviously there was a couple of things in there where Chelsea hadn't embarked on this $1 billion spend at the time and stuff like that. That's obviously kicking in. So I'd imagine if you get the 23-24 one, it could be Chelsea that's up there or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
It just took me aback today, and I seen it and stuff like that, So I thought I'd get Casemiro going, hey, what? Obviously, because he was one of those juicy fees.
He sure was. He was one of the big fees.
Saudi Arabia. Taylor Ward, Riyad Mahrez's wife, came out, did an interview talking about the adjustment moving into Saudi Arabia. She was talking about it was a huge shock, and I had absolutely no idea. One day we were planning for Riyadh to go back to pre-season with City, and then overnight we were moving to Saudi, and I was planning this whole move. The vibe is just very different, she explained. It's a lot more chilled out there. It's quieter and calmer, whereas in Manchester, life is so busier. I'd imagine it's very different. There's so much going on, and we're always going out for dinner and seeing friends when they were in Manchester. That's probably what I'm missing the most, seeing family and friends rather than what the country is missing. There's been a lot of that talk in terms of this huge adjustment for these players going out there with their wives and girlfriends and fiancés and families and stuff like that. And I'll imagine it's a huge adjustment for their kids as well, if they have kids and stuff as well.
I had a Saudi lad living here in the house a couple of years ago, just pre-COVID. We used to take, we have an annex at the back of the house, and we used to take lads out there. And you're wrong there. Shaw's ready for the weekend. Just throw that out there. So
I read that actually. Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, Shaw's free for the weekend. He's ready to go. But thanks for that anyway. And the guy that came to live was a guy called Walid. Lovely guy, Saudi Arabian guy, was here learning English. And when his English got to a certain level, then they were going to send him to Sweden to learn to be an air traffic controller. And it was all about this was all paid for by the government. But I'd be kind of having a bit of a chat to Walid and stuff like that, and I'd be saying, you put that up on the screen, and he he was saying, like, I said, like, what do you love about Ireland? He said, everything. I said, everything. He said, everything. This guy would go out on a Thursday night, wouldn't come home on a Sunday. He'd be in the right venue for 4 nights a week. Loving life, having a couple, living the dream, having a couple. And I said, like, what's different at home? What's different? He said, well, first of all, it's very hot. He said, it's very, very hot. And he said, we're not allowed to drink. He said, so any drinking has to go on behind closed doors. He said, so, like, maybe I go to my friend's house and maybe he has a drink and we can share the drink together. And, but he said, like, we can't go out. He said, we can't go out and can't have fun the way you do here. And he said, the women, they don't dress the way they do at home here, bloody. So, like, I'm listening to this and I'm like, he's saying to me, oh, when I go home, you'll have to come to my house. And I'm like, nah, you're all right. You can come back here. Like, I don't need to be going over there. Why the fuck would I want to go over there? You're not selling it to me. Like, it's boring as fuck.
He's not offering you the big bag.
Absolutely roasting, right? You're going to be sweating your nutsack off. And then you can't go out and have a gargle. Like, you've got laws about this, that, and the brand new. And like, as Westerners, we don't want that in our lives. That's not how we want to live. We live with, although people in the Western world will say, Big Brother's watching you and, they want to try and control us and blah, blah, blah. We have an awful lot of freedom. We have an awful lot of freedom in what we do. Yeah. When you look at other parts of the world like that.
Well, I think you get a little bit of that going on here as well, but it's just they don't declare that they're doing it. Whereas over there, they're at the forefront of saying, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it. I think here they watch everything and they control everything a little bit and stuff like that, but they don't tell you they're doing it. They do it in a sneaky kind of way. Whereas in Saudi, they go, you're not allowed to have alcohol. This is how you're supposed to dress.
But that's
so they're just up front and telling you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we have laws, and our laws aren't as severe as theirs. Now, we know that leads to, that's not necessarily a good thing because it leads to then, chaos when people feel like they can take the law into their own hands and blah, blah, blah. You're not taking a whole lot into your hands in Saudi Arabia because they'd be chopped the fuck off. Like, and that's,
So you're not going to risk it.
You're not going to risk it. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think it's a way of life that any of us would acclimatise very well to. And I would consider us very close to the English in the way we live our lives, like,
there's a connection.
There is, and not just because of a geographical, like, but the way we live our lives, like, we like to go out, we like to have a drink, we like to, go on holidays, we like to do this, we like to do that, we like to go to events.
Countries have been intertwined, haven't they? Really,
absolutely, and that's like, that's not really what's happening over there. That's not really.
So if Saudi come along and go, Darren McCummsky, tennis coach, we want to offer you a couple of million here to come over to Saudi as a tennis coach for a couple of years. What do you think?
How much are we talking? How many years?
Let's say 5 years, 2.5
5 years.
Million, 2.5 million.
I don't think so.
I think I'd be paying you a visit.
What?
I think I'd be paying you a visit.
I don't think.
See, that's the dilemma for a footballer, isn't it? That's the dilemma for a footballer, isn't it?
Well, it isn't.
And look at the riches that's being thrown at them.
It isn't. It isn't, because here's the thing. Let's not forget, Riyad Mahrez wasn't on peanuts at Manchester City.
No, probably doesn't.
Riyad Mahrez could have gone to PSG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So completely different. Could have gone to Real Madrid. Could have gone to Barcelona.
And I'd imagine Taylor Ward would have suited Paris.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't think for 2.5 million to get me there for 5 years.
Where are we going? They don't control Talbot Street.
They sure don't.
Absolutely not. The beloved Guineas and Sports Direct. How much do you think Taker got from Saudi last week?
I have absolutely no idea. It was the most crazy thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
It was the most cringe thing I've ever seen.
Did you see Ronaldo wetting himself?
Yeah, but it was just so cringy as well, the way it panned out, and him lifting up the trophy like it was the urn and all this kind of thing. I'm just there looking at it going,
who thought it was a good idea? Do you know what it looked like? it looked like a Tony Khan idea.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
looked like a Tony Khan idea. I had a whiff of you couldn't run a piss up at a brewery, pal. That's what it was.
Look, I get it with Arsenal and these other clubs playing Triple H's tune or Randy Orton's tune or something like that. I get that because it's kind of fun and it's kind of crossover and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want I don't want Undertaker walking out with the FA Cup or something like that.
They'd have been much better throwing a few quid at like Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Fat Ronaldo, something like that.
Mm.
And at least give some, at least give something to it. Do you know what I mean? Where you're going, bit of credibility here. Like here he is, one of the top footballers we've ever seen on the planet.
Yeah. Morris reckons 10 million
for 5 years.
No, 10. I think he's talking 10 million for Taker because it was his question with Taker. Well, it's right under the Taker question. So, no, I think these guys are getting Bugatti. I think these guys are getting Bugatti watches and they're getting lavish with gifts more so than hard up cash as well. I think there's
no
it's just,
way.
I don't
10 million for that.
I wouldn't say they paid him 10. I'm thinking what, 2?
Yeah, 3 at a push.
Yeah. Definitely
probably only short of what he gets for an evening with the Undertaker.
Yeah.
A $5,000 a blade and ticket or whatever it is this week.
10 grand to have a whiskey toast. There you go.
I prefer Brennan's toast. It's great. Brennan's.
Triple H and Morris Mark wanted 50 million. Probably. Listen, I'm going to change the narrative here quickly on this one, right? Wayne Rooney. Apparently Wayne Rooney has held talks with KSI and the Misfits company. Wants to go do a bit of internet boxing. Thoughts?
Did you watch the interview today?
I didn't get to watch it today, no.
Okay, so he's blown it out of the water completely.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He spoke at Neville Carragher and Keane earlier on. And he said, like, Misfits have obviously been in contact. He said, but right now, for me, the most important thing for me in this world, he said, is getting back into football management and getting the ball moving again. He said, so this isn't something I'll be looking at all.
Don't know. There's big money in this. Well, he wouldn't be ring ready yet.
Don't know. He looked like he could have thrown a few hooks because he had the baseball cap on and he had the grizzly beard and he was a little bit kind of heavy setting. Like we know he knows how to throw a punch. You know what I mean? It probably wouldn't take a lot.
I'd love to see him in there against Carragher.
Carragher's a big boy.
Yeah, but he could jab the body off him or something like that, couldn't he?
Carragher's a big boy.
Rooney has no jawline for boxing. He does have a jawline. It's just you can't see it. It's covered up.
I don't know.
Darren are experts on this.
Absolutely. It's glandular.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's an affliction. Yeah, I just thought I'd put it out there. It was interesting. But listen, I tell you, if it was to happen, I'd be all over it. And I'd say they'd pay him big bucks. I'd say there'd be good money in it.
I think they're willing to throw money at him, but he's like, no, I'm not. He wants to be taken serious in a sporting sense before.
Put him in there with John Fury. Put him in there with John Fury, the outfit. That'd be cracking.
He'd kill John Fury.
That stuff with him and Frotch at the moment is so funny, isn't it?
I'm not a John Fury fan.
No, absolutely
maybe not.
Yeah. I think he's probably just his own fan, is it? I would imagine.
That's all.
I'll try to change it up. Right, quick one on this one as well before we get into Beat the Bookie. Wanted to get your thoughts on this. This is kind of the run-in. Let me know your thoughts on it. Man City there with a little run of 5 games from hell. I would say they have yous at home, us away, Brighton away, Arsenal at home, Aston Villa at home. That's a tidy run of 5 games there where something could potentially happen. And in the midst of Champions League and all.
They batter Chelsea, us, Arsenal, and Villa at home. The only 2 games there that look anyway difficult for City are the 2 aways at the new White Hart Lane and at Anfield. Other than that, I think they steamroll everyone else. For me.
Interesting. And you're still are you of the thoughts you're still City potentially doing the 4P?
No, well they can't do the 4P, can they? What are you talking about with the World Club League?
No, this will be the 4th league in a row. I've
All
done
right.
3.
Um,
So this will be the first time a 4-peat's been done.
yeah, listen, I can't necessarily see past City at the minute. You know, I think it's City's to lose, and I think yourselves and Arsenal fight it out for second. You know, I think that could go either way, but
Yeah.
I do think. I think there's a City. I think City are there for the long haul. If you know what I mean.
I presume Morris is on if Rooney got the job for Ireland.
Yeah. Saw that.
City will win 4 in a row easy. Yeah, no, I just thought that kind of stuck out, that it was interesting in terms of the run, and it seemed to be quite clustered together and right in the midst of their Champions League at the moment as well. Right, let's do our bets for Beat the Bookie.
Why don't you go first, Niall?
I will, but my phone is on airplane mode, so people don't ring me.
And my phone is on airplane mode, so people don't ring me, except now I'm on my phone. So yeah, it's kind of snookers me a little bit.
I'll bring mine up now. I will start. So the first one I did, I think, is it's a straight up treble. It's worth 10-1. And I went with Fulham to beat Aston Villa, Forest to beat West Ham, and Everton to beat Crystal Palace. Straight up treble, 10-1. Sorry, 11.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Not too bad, and consistent with what we spoke about earlier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is always key on this show.
Will you put the games back up for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. That's the one. You're a gent. I appreciate that. So, will I give you my first one?
Yeah, fire away there.
So, my first one is my favourite bet of the weekend. It's result and both teams to score. So, I'm going Liverpool. I'm going Newcastle. And I'm going Manchester City. And it's not amazing odds, but it'll pay you 32-1.
32-1.
Yeah.
I did that bet as well. I had 2 out of your 3. Yeah, but I did 4, and it pays 90-1.
Yeah.
So I had Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I had Man City.
Yeah.
But I also had Fulham in there to beat Aston Villa with both to score.
Right.
And I rounded it out with a result that you probably agree with: United and both to score against Luton. So those 4 pays you 90-1.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
We're hitting it out of the park here tonight on these ones.
Sure are. And I did one other one. My one other was a goal scorer bet.
Oh, nice! I love that. I have that as well.
And I've sprinkled a lot of my fantasy football in here. So there's a bet in Paddy Power, and it allows you to choose score or assist. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Saying that, yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
So I've gone score or assist on 4 players. So I've gone Diogo Jota, Liverpool, score assist. I have gone Erling Haaland. No, sorry, not Erling Haaland. Kevin De Bruyne, goal or assist.
Yeah.
Man City. I've gone Rasmus Højlund, goal or assist against Luton. And I round out with Bukayo Saka, goal or assist for Arsenal. Now, it's not amazing because you get the goal or the assist.
You're getting the double chance nearly, yeah.
Yeah, but it's 16-1.
It's tidy.
Yeah.
I did a goal scorer one, and it comes out 20. It's 25 to roughly 25-1. So I went with Jota as well.
Yeah.
I went with Erling Haaland.
Yes.
And then I went with Awoni off Nottingham Forest.
Yes, we spoke about him earlier. That's right.
He's due a couple of goals. We spoke about it earlier. And I went with your boy off Spurs, which kind of broke my heart, but I had to put him in there. Richarlison.
Very good. Very good. I like it.
Jota, Richarlison, Erling Haaland, and Awoni, all 4, 25-1.
Nice. Nothing wrong with it.
So that's my one there. I can tell you now, Acers, Kenny Omega, if he wasn't injured, would be wrestling a sting in his last match. And that would not make me any more excited than the Bucks. That's being honest.
Yeah.
It's at the same level, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going triple captain this week, lads. It's going all in. I look forward to the show when you send it over. So
yeah.
Mark, went to my group meeting. Stop you, will you? Stuff these lads put up there.
Right.
Holy God. So listen, we have a couple of tidy bets that we will keep an eye on, as always. And enjoy the football, folks. I'll try and squeeze in at some stage a video with a Brentford preview. I just want to figure out tomorrow who's going to be available and who's in the squad and stuff like that before I give the preview. So hopefully we'll do something tomorrow night, or I'll drop a video on it anyway.
Nice.
Until next time, folks, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. Big sporting weekend coming up. Enjoy it. Darren's off to Rome. So when in Rome, no football on the cards, no Roma game or anything like that. Or I see, they draw tonight? Did they draw tonight?
They drew tonight. They're not home this weekend.
Tonight,
Lazio are home. Lazio and Bologna is on Sunday, so we'll see.
Big win for Lazio in the Champions League as well.
Big win.
The curse of Harry Kane kicking in already at Bayern Munich could cost Thomas Tuchel his job. But until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like on the video, and we will talk to you again real soon. Cheers, Daz.
Thanks, pal.